Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Today we'll be starting off with the centenary celebrations going on. So much talk about it, and that's what we're focusing on. We're joined this morning by Mr. Robert Clarke, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Morning, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure always.
Yeah, but already we always will have this situation where not everybody will be on the same page about any matter in the country. But with this one, they seem to ask, some asking for the essence of this celebration. Should it be about the independence or the amalgamation? Some are wondering, are we celebrating the past? How should they go about it? Should they be celebrated? What do you think?
When you look at the concept of a century in the development of Nigeria as a nation, you divide it into two. How many of these 100 years were we under colonial rule? How many of the 100 years were we independent? If my arithmetic is correct, we've been independent for 52 years out of the 100 years. We were a colonial, slave, you quote it, for 48 years. So the question is, when you are celebrating a century, you have to know the period of subservience to colonialism and the period of independence. When you look at the two angles, you'll be able to determine whether you had made any progress at all. I have been privileged. Out of the 100 years, I think I have seen 75, because I'll be 75 very soon. So I have seen part of the colonial edifice, how it developed into an independent Nigeria as an adult. And I've been able to see the difference between the two. To say that we should not celebrate it, I don't agree. Because a century, whether under bondage or independence, it's, there are many nations in the world that have disintegrated within the first 100 years. When you look at Europe today, that people think is stable, many of the wars that have been fought in Europe, especially in the Balkan areas, has been tremendous. And most of the countries there have broken up. Hungary and many other countries were joined together after the Second World War. Austria-Hungary was broken into two. So one of the good things that has happened in Nigeria is that we have been able, within this period of 100 years, remained as one, despite and in spite of the diversities we have. I am of the firm belief that what has kept us as one country is the diversity that we have. Without the diversity in Nigeria, Nigeria could never be still one till today. So we have something to celebrate about.
So let's take it from that angle, the diversity, which we've always had, that there's strength and unity in our diversity, and sometimes it sounds or looks ambiguous for some people. But again, the most interesting thing, I remember last year you told us that you, as a young Nigerian, saw the Union Jack lowered here in the country, and that was a fantastic moment for you, as it was for loads of Nigerians. So the diverse cultures, tongues, and tribes that we do have here, how would you say is our strength?
Let me give you a clear example. I am not saying it should be tested. I have a belief that what keeps the southern part of Nigeria together today is the fear of the North. The fear of the domination of the North over the South. It's what gives a semblance of unity among Southerners. If for one reason or the other, which I'm not campaigning for, the North severes its relationship in Nigeria and moves away, I can assure you within 3 months, the South will disintegrate. Because outside the fact of the fear of the North, there is nothing that keeps Southern Nigeria as one. The Yorubas don't like the Igbos. Let us be frank about it. The Ijaw man does not like the Igbo man. The Rivers people don't like the Igbo man. But what keeps this southern state of Nigeria together now is the fact of the fear of the domination of the North. And this is why I'm talking about the diversity. You are asking me I don't want it to be tested. But what keeps us is that, oh, the Southerners have been afraid. I was watching the ceremonies. I looked at the past heads of states and this thing. I looked at them, minus my good friend IBB, who was not there. There were 4 Northerners: Gawan, Buhari, Abdul Salam, and Shagari.
And that was a surprise, especially
No,
Buhari
that's what
being
I'm
there.
trying to tell you. When you look back, that fear of dominance of the South, that the North has been dominating, was quite evident from there. But some people say Obasanjo has been able, within the 8 years he was in government, to drastically reduce the power of the North. And I think many top Northerners today don't want to forgive him because he drew the carpet. And as some people say, it will take the North another 25 years to undo the damage Obasanjo has done to the North. But in doing so, he was trying to balance the power in Nigeria. He was able to restructure the army. He was able to restructure many of the parastatals, even though he decided to scrap many of the parastatals, which were the backbone for the Northerners. Many of these parastatals were areas where the North, believed they make. Let me give you a joke. 3 Nigerians, a Yoruba man, an Igbo man, and a Hausa man, were involved in an accident. And they died. Immediately they died, Angel Gabriel appeared to them that, look, although you are dead, I can resurrect you if you pay me £5 million. Oh, the Igbo man said, £5 million? No problem, I'll pay it. He quickly paid it. And he just found himself standing up from the accident spot. The angel went to the Yoruba man. The Yoruba man said, about 5 million is too plenty now. Can't you take 3 million? I'll pay you 3 million, or even, okay, 4 million. The angel says, no, it's fine. He said, okay, if that is the condition, I'll pay. The Yoruba man stood up. The angel went to the Hausa man and said, look. The Hausa man said, ba wahala, just send the bill to the federal government of Nigeria. You see, the joke there is that the Northerners depend solely on the federal government of Nigeria, which was true to an extent some years back. And that was what Obasanjo has come to do, to draw that carpet and make sure that, no one region, has the hold on the federation. But with all these diversities, when there is a problem affecting Nigeria, we all unite together. And we've been able to,
there was also a fine documentary put out leading up to this particular centenary celebration, to the extent that one wonders what exactly the now generation of Nigeria know about our history. Perhaps we should also look at that and ask ourselves if we've done well by impacting such knowledge or historical facts to our now generation of Nigerians.
Unfortunately, we have not done it. When we were young, there were 26 provinces in Nigeria. The Englishmen were dominating us by the creation of provincial divisions. There were 26 divisions, provincial divisions, with 1 resident in each division, which is equivalent to what you have as a governor today. Under the resident, they have district officers. That was how they managed this country. And every month, the resident will travel around his province, make sure everything is in order.
Monthly?
Monthly. Once a month, he goes on this tour. He has his district officers. The local governments are what the district officers were managing. Everywhere was clean. In Lagos, you find what they call, mosquito, these people moving around, killing mosquitoes in the gutter. Everything was going on well with 26 provinces. Even what we thought was, when we were going to create Nigeria, we should retain the provincial system and only have these residents instead of calling them governors. Now from the 26 provinces, you now have 36 states. From the 26, Akure was just 1 province, Ijebu was 1, Lagos was Lagos and Colony. But when we were creating states, out of the 26 provinces, we created 36 states. And we now brought in a system of governance that brought in quote, dictators to manage our affairs. Not servants, politicians, but dictators, because the enormous powers our governors are wielding is too much. They are wielding the same power God is wielding. And as I always said, government and God, they are the same. Capital G starts God, capital G starts government. When God will forgive you your sins, the government will not forgive you your sins. Thereafter, you either use the EFCC against you or use anything. Now, the powers being wielded is too much, and that is what is drawing us back in Nigeria.